Hi, it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K channel, and today we are doing an EP review for the new EP from the band Muskill. It's called Cause and Effect. I'll let Kirk. Do you want to give us a bit quick, very like when I say quick, I mean literally like 5 seconds, 10 seconds background on who Muskill are?
Yeah, Muskill are a band from predominantly central Bedfordshire. They released their debut EP, Ghost Malevolent, in 2021, and this is their second EP. It is available on Friday, the 23rd of June, as an independent release.
Way!
And they play thrash metal, the most important thing I should mention.
Shut up! No, you were doing so well until that, Kirk. You need to stop. Right. Right, let's go around the houses on what we thought of the new EP. Over to Andy first of all.
First of all, we're all big fans of this band. They're our Hitchin Melt to the Masses winners from last year. Went to Bloodstock, and very keen to see them this weekend at the 2023 final. The first thing I noted down before I even started listening was that this year we have been absolutely blessed with absolutely cracking EPs from our local metal bands, and we've been fortunate enough to have a early release of them and reviewed them here on the channel. I mean, there's half a dozen I can think of off the top of my head. So this is another one that certainly falls in that category. 4 tracks, as Kirk said, self-produced and self-released. From their social media posts and everything, it's obviously, I know for a fact they're sort of recorded literally in-house on Cubase, and one thing I'll say regarding that, it might probably because of the way I listen to music and my sort of interpretation of it, and the fact that I haven't got top of the range equipment. This EP and many others that we review that are recorded at home on your laptop with Cubase sounds as good as any professional recordings that are out there. That's the technology that we've got today. That's the sort of skill that these guys have, mixing and mastering their own sort of material. So the sound production is absolutely brilliant. Regarding the cover, they've again used the same guy who done the first EP. I don't know his name, but he's obviously influenced and got the style of a guy called Ed Repka, who done a lot of the American thrash albums from the late 80s, 1990s, Megadeth, Death, Violence, Evil Dead, Massacre. Everyone will know those titles. They'll all know the work of this guy. And the man that Muskill have drafted in to do their EP covers is copying the style very, very well. And they brought the mascot, for want of a better word, back in, which is a great idea. The marketing opportunities with that are fantastic, and it's what bands should try and do if they can, have something they can market for merchandise, t-shirts and stuff. I think that he's called Ghost Malevolent. I might be wrong on that, but it's the same sort of figure on the cover of this one. Again, it's replicating something similar that I've seen it from the albums that I mentioned before. Onto the music. The sort of debut single, which is already out there, is called My Scourge Sentence. It's a long track for thrash. Well, certainly the longest on this, 6 minutes. What I really picked up on this one, Dan Paul, the guitarist vocalist, he's got sort of quite a distinctive style. But what he does throughout this EP is on sort of alternate lines of his vocals. He sort of comes down the register and sort of delivers this sort of lower delivery, lower vocals, which really work. And then he'll revert back to his sort of usual sort of delivery. They've got the classic thrash element, gang vocals on the choruses. This song is packed with riffs. Must be 10 a dozen different riffs in this song. Really, really good. Next one is called, forgive my pronunciation, I think it's a French term, Bête Noire, which is Black Beast. I had to look it up. I guess Noir was black, but Black Beast, again, got those vocals. My particular favourite is one they've played a couple of times live that I have seen. It's called No More, and I think it's going to be a real crowd favourite. It's got that sort of chorus where you can shout back the title, and it's a real good song, real sing along chorus. And for the last track, the title track, I've just written word Stomper. Really, again, another quality EP from one of our local favourite bands.
Okay. So I'm going to pretty much echo all your stuff you've said there. for the production on this, listening to it through my lovely brand new £160 stereo headphones that I got for mixing, of all the EPs we've recently released, that has got the best production of all of them. By a long way. Every other one that I've seen from the local bands, I can tell it's been done in a studio to some degree, but it's been done really well in the studio. But you can hear you can tell it's a local band that's done it, but done it well, versus a band like an Obituary or someone's done it. This is Obituary level production. And the fact they've done it all in house. Now, what they've done is they've obviously spent quality time, and they've known what they're doing with that production. They know not to oversaturate. They've actually spent the time understanding how to do this mixing at home. And it's a serious art form if you can do it. So the fact they've done it at home is brilliant, because to get that in a studio like one of the London Roads or one of the other guys that we have locally, you're going to spend a long time in there doing that post-production piece, which you can't afford to do. And that's where the local band format does. So the more bands that can learn how to do in-house production and learn that skill with the equipment, the better, because actually you can get a much better sorry recording studios, but I'm just saying, if you haven't got the skills, then obviously the recording studio is the right way to go. But I was very impressed with the quality of the production on this. You talked about My Scourge Sentence. To me, the whole that song just felt like Obituary on speed. It's kind of that death metal heavy Obituary, and I would actually say that Dan has got a real hint of the old John Tardy about his vocal on this album, or this EP. It's just like John Tardy, just a little bit higher. But there were some very vocal inflections that reminded me of him. And I was just thinking I was listening to a slightly different Obituary style of an album. I did think the first song was too long for me. Will it hit about the 3.5 minute mark, where it has that natural break when you think it's about to finish, and then it carries on and does something else? So I was like, oh, that feels like it's finished, and it felt perfect. And then it carries on and it went back into another riff. And I'm like, do you know what? I don't know. Did it need to be that long? So that threw me off a little bit. I also get kind of a bit of a hardcore, New York hardcore groove off that track as well. Just a few little elements. Bête Noire, Great Weight, feels a little bit like some Pantera-esque grooves in there. No More, of course, my favourite live track. Why? Because it sounds a bit like Prong. There is definitely some Prong in No More. There is. It's almost out like Revenge Best Served Cold. It's got a very similar sort of drum pattern to it, and I love that. Also with a hint of Machine Head thrown in there for delivery, and Cause and Effect, chugging metal, reminded me of our friends Carriga, and a bit of Paradise Lost in there in sort of the elements. So they've taken some of their greatest influences and they've delivered it amazingly well. Everyone on top form. Solos were great. Love the vocal delivery. You know me, I'm not a massive fan of the heavier, aggressive vocals, but I think Dan does an amazing job on it, and is an absolute standout EP for me. Over to you, Kirk.
I'll start with the lyrics then on this EP, because these.
Well, you're going to read them all out for us.
I'm going to read them out, so get ready. 15 minutes. These stand out for me. Each song has it's in the first person perspective, and it'll have a different protagonist. So My Scourge Sentence is interesting, because that's about somebody who is approaching convalescence. You know, they've got all these ailments, they've worked hard all their life, and it just seems for what? Well, just to die, and you might not have any dignity to it. So I think there was a really poignant message in that song. The last song as well, Cause and Effect, I thought was, the way I interpreted it, I thought Dan was writing about the opioid epidemic in the United States when I looked at those lyrics. And Bête Noire, I think it's really hard to translate that from French to English. I think the nearest thing is actually the beast within. You know, we have that saying, the dark beast within. That's what a Bête Noire is in the French language. It just doesn't really translate. But musically, obviously, I like this. I'm a big fan of this band. I think they're probably the best live band we have in the metal underground, in the thrash scene. I can't say I've seen them all, but if you're better than this quartet, you are going to be the supreme band in England. I think My Scourge Sentence was just about right. I don't mind 6 minutes. Quite experimental. You're right, there's some hardcore moments in there. I love the outro groove, Sepultura-esque. I know that Dan sometimes wears the Beneath the Remains vest, doesn't he, when he's playing live?
Yeah.
You're right. The production on this, especially the footwork from the drummer James Bell, is sensational. And I'm pleased to say that he is temporarily still in the band. The only reason he cannot commit to Muskill is because he is eventually going to be taking over the family business, and he just would have no time to play in a thrash metal band. But he is going to be on the drum stool for the EP launch on Friday. Yeah, No More, great song, protest song, isn't it? We've heard it live when they did it in the 2022 heats for Metal to the Masses. You're right, definite. I get vibes of Prong. He's using those mid-range decapitated fifth chords, isn't he? And like plenty of slides in there. It's interesting, isn't it? The last three songs are just full-on death thrash. I think the Obituary influence comes through in the last track. Chuck Schuldiner of Death is clearly a big influence as well, right, on the guitar style and the vocal phrasings. They're just head and shoulders above everything that I hear, though. If the next Silosis album is at the standard of these four tracks, then that's just going to be a remarkable record. But I just don't think they're going to be capable of doing it. This, to me, is where thrash metal needs to be. And the last thing I'll say, and agree with both of you, it's because the subtleties that they bring in from other genres. This is 90% thrash metal. You know, you could have this on the same stage as Municipal Waste, but like you said there, bit of Biohazard, Death, Obituary, Prong. It's just fascinating music. I really, it's only what, 21 minutes, so it's easy to get through, and I could just have this on repeat all day.
Yeah,
fantastic. I love thrash metal. It's my favorite subgenre of extreme metal, and this just reiterates that for me.
Okay, well, let's get to the scoring. Now, obviously, we have our four scores. It's either a bin it, a trade it, a stream it, or a buy it. So over to Andy, what's your scores on the doors?
Absolute buy it. Hope you pick up a copy this Saturday.
Okay, I'm going to mirror that and say, yeah, it's definitely a buy it from me. Over to you, Kirk.
Unanimous, buy it from me as well.
Okay, so this is getting weird now. This is now the fourth time in as many reviews, I think, where we've actually all agreed pretty much, or we've given a buy it to as our final result. Now, is this because we're either getting softer, or is it because it's the local bands and they're actually just so much better than some of the stuff that we've been getting from like record companies? I don't know. Maybe our local bands are just that good.
Second point, Dave. I think, yeah.
I think
like I said at the beginning of my piece, you know, there's been half a dozen or so really, really fantastic EPs.
Yeah.
Most have certainly got an unanimous from all. A unanimous buy from all of us. Yeah.
I mean, even looking at last week's Metal to the Masses, 10 quid to watch 6 bands doesn't happen very often. And even our opener was in the House of Heartbeats. That was a great opening band on last week. So it's amazing to go out and support your local bands rather than spend 300-400 quid, whatever it is you have to pay now to go and see Metallica.
I think Muskill will get signed eventually.
Yeah, they've got to. But it's whether they'd want to, whether it's going to be of any benefit to them. That's the question. But there you go. So Muskill gets a buy it from the A.D.K channel. Now, if you like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.